We're on our way, a bunch of journos on a special flight to Pyongyang. We have no idea what we can film when we get there, so right now the plan is to just film everything. Welcome to Pyongyang. I have no complaints about the hotel. Its upper floors give me my first real glimpse of the city lights. And far from being cut off from the rest of the world, the lines of communication will be wide open. We've just arrived here in Pyongyang at the Yanggakdo Hotel, and they've decided to install the internet. So a bunch of guys have been in my room with some cables and a modem, and they said they'll be back soon. But it's 1:30 in the morning. At dawn, I discover that the hotel is on an island. But I have a date with a man who'll be my key to getting off the island and into the city. Like all the other media, we've been assigned a guide or minder. Ours is Mr. Lee from the North Korean Foreign Ministry. We're here to cover the 60th anniversary of the end of the Korean War. And clearly, Mr. Lee intends that to be front and centre of our schedule. First stop is a newly built cemetery. So this is for soldiers who were killed during the war? Yeah. Right. "60 years after the war, there's no denying that the grief is still very real. But for North Koreans, the war isn't over. When I ask this woman about the loss of her husband, I discover how the personal and the political intersect in North Korea.
백령숙족 이제 침략자들을 이 땅 위에서 하루빨리 내쫓고 통일된 강장 후에 경의한 최고 사령관 김정은 스님을 높이 모실 그날을 하루빨리 앞당기기 위하여 자신이 모든 것을 다하겠다는 것을 굳게 결의다집니다.
We're quickly finding out the ground rules for our visit. There'll be no freestyling, no running off to grab interviews with people in between the official functions. Mr. Lee has a plan, and next on the list is the Kwang Soo Sun Palace of the Sun. For an outsider, the reverence shown to North Korea's leaders amounts almost to a cult. Kim Il-sung died in 1994, and yet he's still formally regarded as the president. His body lies here in state, along with that of his son, the dear leader, Kim Jong-il.
When our Korean people come to this palace, then they regard that they are near to President Kim Il-sung and Journalist Kim Jong-il, and they are talking to them about their daily life and what they think.
But even in this sacred place, kids are still kids. What do you like to do after school in your spare time?
Play basketball.
Oh, you like basketball?
Yeah. Play piano. Play streaming.
What kind of work would you like to do when you are older?
우리는 영화 배우자기만입니다.
Who is your favourite actress?
어미란입니다. 김정화.
As it turns out, Omiran and Kim Jong-hwa are no young modern-day starlets. They played gun-toting heroines whose patriotic credentials were never in question.
How are you?
See you. I'm good.
See, you're still alive. You haven't been captured. No hard labour camp. No concentration.
Not yet. Yeah. It was Ray Ferguson who'd made it possible for me to visit North Korea. This is Eduardo, the cameraman. He's the secretary of the Australia-North Korea Friendship Association, and here that opens a lot of doors.
So where are you people off to today with us?
Well, we're on this bus. We don't really know where we're going yet. Mr. Lee is our
well, I'm sure you'll
guide.
be following us.
It turns out that Mr. Lee has something spectacular planned. The North Koreans haven't staged this show with just a few hours rehearsal. They call it the mass games, and even the most cynical observer would have to agree it's a triumph of training, athleticism and precision. As the show gets underway, there's a buzz in the crowd, and then chanting and clapping. In North Korea, this means just one thing: the arrival of a leader. In this case, the very much alive Kim Jong-un. It's hard to imagine any Australian politician getting a welcome like this. The Games are a masterpiece of discipline. Over 100,000 participants and no one out of step. I was hoping to speak to some of them, but that wasn't going to happen. On the way back to the hotel, I wonder if I'll get the chance to see something less stage-managed than the public events. It's 8:02. We were meant to be downstairs at 8 o'clock. Very punctual is Mr. Lee. And today's the big day, 27th, Victory Day. Good morning. Mr. Lee has asked me to bring him our air tickets for confirmation, but in the rush, I've forgotten them.
You left your mobile in your room.
Yeah, no mobile.
And give me a passport and air ticket.
Our relationship is turning into that of a parent with an unruly child. I think I left the air ticket upstairs again. The air ticket is still upstairs. Can we check later? But on the bus, Mr. Lee's mood lifts. Oh, you were so funny in the mornings. You must take your funny pills when you get up.
Only in the mornings?
And after all, this is the day we've all been waiting for. It's one thing to see the images on television, but there's nothing like front row seats. If this is meant to impress the world that North Korea has significant military might, it's an impressive piece of marketing.
The whole of the square is literally shaking as these guys march past. It's amazing.
It's not just tanks and missiles that are on display, it's the people's apparent love of their leader that borders on religious zeal.
Do you think everybody is very emotional, or do you think some people just pretend? Hard to say.
You don't use that word. So in that case, it's an insult to the Korean people.
Okay,
So
yeah.
it's the real feeling.
It's a real
Yeah,
feeling.
real feeling. You said, let's say he's an actor or an actress, then they can do it, they can make up those feelings, those expressions, but they're crying and they're yelling and their voices. That's why I'm telling you that those expressions are totally insult to the foreign people. So don't use those expressions.
Yeah, sure. It's very interesting.
Besides the missiles and the emotion, what's also real is North Korea's tendency to make random threats against its traditional enemy, the US.
This is what is presented, of course, by the media. And this, unfortunately, people believe this.
Ray Ferguson, the man who helped me get into North Korea, thinks the regime gets unfair treatments from the media. But I wonder whose fault that is.
Do you think they need to be a bit more open about their country?
I think they want to be more open. I think they desperately want to be more open, and that's why they're inviting tourists into the country. Not only for openness, of course, but to earn some hard currency. But they have been let down too many times by overseas journalists.
As one of those overseas journalists, I'm not here to do a hatchet job. But North Korea's reputation as a rogue state isn't helped by the limitations they impose. You know, we're restricted to Pyongyang. B, we're restricted to a very tight schedule, very carefully managed, and there's just not much information outside that. but I guess what I can say is that I feel like just the little glimpses that I'm getting of people, walking along the street. Today we saw people just, on the street after the parade. They were buying ice creams, sitting in the shade, having a chat. Men and women walking together. I guess it just makes the place seem a bit more normal. Day 3 ends with a dazzling display. This is a city that's so far only shown us its finest. Heading back to the hotel, I wonder what I'm missing in the shadows. The streets here are darker than those in other cities, a hint at the power shortages they face. But there are lights in some apartment windows. What life is taking place beneath them? Day 4 gets off to a slow start. Mr. Lee is missing. The big parade is over, and I have a sneaky suspicion that all the minders are nursing hangovers. Ah, there's Mr. Lee. Good morning. Good afternoon, should I say?
Yeah, sure, good afternoon.
Any news about whether we can go and interview your family?
Interview family?
Yeah, ordinary family. That obviously isn't going to happen today.
Celebrities. One more? Or...
So with time on my hands, it's a chance for a wander through the hotel. This is the Revolving Restaurant. Clearly, this is a place not often visited by ordinary North Koreans. But there are lots of distractions for foreign visitors, a contrast to what I imagine life is like outside. Whoa! Casino Pyongyang, here I come. Check this out. Home run. My frustration with Mr. Lee due to the restrictions on us falls away over a game of ping pong. This is Australia versus DPRK.
No, this is a friendly game.
Oh, it's friendly. Of course it's friendly. Of course. I discover that Mr. Lee is married with a young son and that he hopes to come to Australia. And if I thought there'd be any advantage in losing to him, I don't have to try very hard. He's good. It's our last morning here, and Mr. Lee has decided that he's going to take us on a personal tour of Pyongyang. We're breaking away from the other journalists and, going totally separately from them. Don't know where we're going yet, but hopefully we'll get something interesting. At last, some freedom from the media pack, just us and Mr. Lee. But I can tell he's worried that we're departing from the official schedule. Where are we going? I feel a little bit nervous. But I do like the colour combination going on here. It turns out to be a skate park. It is an exclusive, a chance to meet ordinary North Koreans enjoying themselves. But even here, Mr. Lee is nervous about us approaching adults for interviews. And you like roller skating?
Yes.
How often do you come roller skating? How often?
여기 음악은 따져니 여기.
Sunday.
On Sundays, yeah.
On Sunday. Every Sunday roller skating?
매일 열마다 이렇게 하나요?
Yes.
This obviously isn't a place where I'll get a deep insight into the heart and soul of North Korea. But it is a glimpse of real life. And I have to admit, a bit of fun.
So on behalf of the Oceania delegation,
It's time to head for home, and Ray Ferguson is saying farewell to his hosts in typical Aussie style.
medicinal purposes only.
Ray's a regular visitor here, working his own form of diplomacy. It may be some time before Australia establishes meaningful diplomatic relations with North Korea, but Ray's hopeful.
But at least if you're engaging, if you're talking, then it always creates a better groundwork, a better possibility, a better understanding, where those discussions can lead to far better relations and establish goodwill between the Australian people and the people of Korea.
안녕히.
안녕. 안녕히.
Bye-bye. 5 carefully guided days in Pyongyang have allowed me to put a human face to North Korea. But it's also given me an insight into the tight control that has maintained the ruling dynasty for 60 years. And as far as I can judge, that isn't about to change anytime soon.